Pokemon, and also I do voices in the new Yu-Gi-Oh! 5B and Pokemon and Ninja Turtles and things like that. And
I'm Veronica Taylor. I'm also a voice actor. Hi, I'm Rachel Lillis. I'm a voice actor too.
I'm Michael Nicholas, and I'm also a voice.
So, without further ado, we'll begin.
Vampire Hunter D, The Wanderer's Ship, by Hideyuki Kikuchi. Translated by Kevin Leahy. Printed with permission of Hitomi Yatwe. When that ship was spotted out on the horizon, every light in a seaside village would be extinguished at once. Since the ship appeared only at night, the storm doors would be closed, the shutters drawn, and every lantern blown out as entire families huddled together in a single room. They looked as if they were trying not only to hide every light, but to conceal their very presence, up to and including the sounds of their own hearts beating. The ship was said to have a displacement of 5 million tons. Based on various eyewitness accounts, that figure wouldn't be shocking for something that had been constructed by the nobility. Incidentally, the largest battleship that had ever been built in the Far East's distant past hadn't been more than 70-some-odd thousand tons. As befitted a ship of the nobility, it was painted crimson from prow to stern. No one knew for sure whether it was actually coated with human blood, as the rumors went. Nor was it known from what kind of material its hull had been constructed. For despite the assistance of philologists, archaeologists searching for some record of the Crimson Ship's construction never found so much as a single word relating to it. And it was for that reason some said the Crimson Ship must have come out of their dreams. Perhaps the people had no other way to account for a colossal ship that was never seen by the light of day. However, the havoc that accompanied the ship was no dream. In regions where the hull's crimson gleam was spotted, a handful of villages and hundreds of people always disappeared in the span of a single night. Although the firmly barred doors and windows were shattered without exception, and the faint spatters of blood in the homes made it obvious that nobility had been feeding there, the villagers they victimized vanished, leaving no one behind with pallid skin and bite marks on their throats. According to contemporary accounts, a villager who braved great danger to go fishing on a bright moonlit night was casting his nets into waters spread with bioluminescent noctiluca when he spotted countless people advancing underwater. They weren't swimming. Without ever touching the floor of the sea, they were walking underwater. It was said their attire was most definitely not that of the nobility, but was unmistakably that of people who dwelt by the seashore. Below the villager, who was unable to turn his eyes away, even as terror froze the blood in his veins, the people marched off silently. But one of them then turned and looked up without warning. His eyes met the villager's. The instant he realized the face belonged to a resident of a nearby town who vanished along with the Crimson Ship several years ago, the villager fainted. For the 5 long millennia, the Crimson Ship had been a threat. The most puzzling aspect of all was why the coastal dwellers who fell victim to it were so reluctant to take flight. Regional security bureaus had issued orders that if the Crimson Ship was sighted, people were to give no thought to holding up in their homes, but instead to flee immediately. Nevertheless, when the Crimson Ship appeared on the horizon as if burnt for the night itself, the weird disappearances always occurred. The greatest recorded disappearance was the Port Rundale incident, a good 3,400 years earlier. The Crimson Ship floated into the harbor of Rundale, the largest port city in the southern frontier. Recorded sightings of the Crimson Ship usually came from villages that had managed to remain unscathed by its ravages. But in this case, an account was penned by an aged poet who was halfway up Mount Kaidas, looking down at Rundale, and trying to capture